So I want to talk today about the family dynamic with a narcissist mother working tirelessly to sever all ties and bonds between family members and siblings, and then triangulating everyone against each other. And so this is playing out in my family in real time. And I want to talk today about the relationship I have with my brother. And in our family, it's my mom, my dad, myself, and my brother. And the dynamic that the narcissist has created is my brother's the golden child, and I'm the scapegoat, and my dad's the enabler. So that has been the dynamic my whole life, and it's been very challenging to have a relationship with my brother. And so I had this dream last night, and in my dream, I was out with some friends. We were out in the town, and we were drinking, and we were kind of going from bar to bar and cruising around. And my brother was out too, and he was by himself. And I remember I was talking to my friends, and we're at this bar, and he came in, and he was like kind of out of it. He was like high and drunk and kind of acting weird. And the bartender and my friends were like, "Oh, what's up with your brother? Something's wrong with him. What's going on with him?" And I was like, "I don't know, man." And then yeah, I was like, he left, and then my friends and I were walking down the sidewalk, and I see my brother ride by in the street on a bike, and I was like thinking, oh, I need to go to him and see what's up with him. Something's wrong with him. And so I'm like running after him, and he crashes on his bike. And so I run up to him, and he's like in the wreckage of the bike, and he's not an adult anymore. He's like this. He's like a toddler. He's like the size of my 1.5-year-old. And so I like go to him, and I pick him up, and I'm holding him and like, reassuring him like, oh, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Everything's okay. And I'm carrying him and walking with him, and then I wake up. And so this came. I had this dream because I spoke to a friend of ours, and my friend was like, "Oh yeah," because my brother is ever since I called out the narc, for just being, a terrible person, and really just saying, if you want to have a relationship with me, it needs to be mutual respect. You have to be respectful and kind, and like I'm holding you to that. So just by that, she like went in full triangulation mode, and severed any remaining or attempted a relationship I could have with my brother. So I haven't spoken to him. It's probably been a year. And so the only way I really get updates from him about him is through a mutual friend of ours. And so I was talking to my buddy yesterday, and I was saying, and he was telling me about 4th of July and how they were having this plan to get together and go out, and it was going to be really cool. And they've been talking about it for several weeks. And I was like, oh, well, so how'd it go? He's like, well, yeah, your brother, like I called him up, and he just completely flaked out and says, oh, he doesn't want to go. He doesn't have any gas money, and he can't, he doesn't feel like it. And he just totally just bagged out. And he's like, I don't know what his problem was, man. And they said, yeah, I'm just going to go to my parents and just get some money from them and, have a good time. And so it, my buddy was bummed out because he's like hoping to have one of his friends as a wingman to go out for 4th of July and have a good time. And, but, it really hit me because, you think about the dynamic of the scapegoat and the golden child as siblings. And you would think, yeah, like the scapegoat's going to end up in the gutter with nothing, and the golden child's going to end up in the palace with everything. And, as time has played out, it's been very different. Our lives have taken completely different paths. And after hearing what my friend had said, it's real concerning because, my brother is in this state where he's really isolated himself. He's alone. He's coming off of a failed marriage. He had a met a gal, quickly got married. And then got divorced like a year later, and he's still in that. That was like 10 years ago, man. And he's in this house that they got together with the pets that they got together, and he's really isolating himself. I know he's drowning in a lot of debt. My family's financial responsibility has been pretty much zero, and they just really live above their means and use credit to, finance their life. And that creates a lot of depression and a huge burden. And I can't imagine what that's like for him. But so like he's in this really vulnerable place, and he's constantly going to my parents for money. They just basically dole out money for him. And you would think, a parent that cares about their child would take notice of this, like, why are you isolating? Why are you, not engaging with friends? Why are you just home? Why are you home all the time? I mean, he has a job. He works at a grocery store. He's worked at the same grocery store for 20 years. And so, he does socialize to an extent, but the rest of the time he's just at home, like on the computer. I'm sure he's probably addicted to like strange stuff on the computer. And you would think that would send up warning signs for a parent, and that it would be a priority to, help your child. But, that's just not the case. And what's unfortunate is the narc has really severed our relationship, because initially I went to him when I was like figuring all this out, and I was trying to connect with him and say like, man, something's up with mom, and like, what's the deal here? And I told him like, I'm trying to figure this out. Her behavior is really strange, because before I was just drunk and stoned and under the spell for like 25 years, and then getting sober and then learning about all this and trying to come to him and ask for help. It was just like, he doesn't want to hear it, and that doesn't exist, and that's not real, and all that. I was like, okay, well, that's fine. Then he doesn't want to hear me out and even ask why, or he has zero interest, which is okay. And I'm remaining, since this is playing out in real time and it's evolving, I'm being objective, and I'm observing, and I'm learning from everything. But at the same time, it's like extremely depressing and so sad, because he has zero interest in my family and like his nieces. And they're only little for so long, and he puts zero effort out to come around, to like spend time with them. I mean, he's hung out with my oldest daughter a few times. The last time he saw her, he like yelled at her because she was questioning the narc about feeding. The narc has this like rotten little chihuahua. She has had the worst rotten chihuahuas like my entire life, and they all hate me. And of course, this little rat hates me, man. And she, and she's like the best with animals or whatever, but she like overfeeds them, and they're all in medication. And so like, she's like stuffing this dog's face with all, like, I gave them all this hamburger, like we'll buy a quarter cow or half a cow. And so like, I'll give my parents, the homages. So I gave them some ground beef. And yeah, she's like feeding the dog the ground beef. And my daughter's like, why are you feeding the dog the ground beef? And she's 6, because she's like, this is weird. And then my brother like yells at her about it, and she comes home crying. I was like, God, man, you guys just relax, man. So she's pretty soured on him, which, whatever, it is what it is. But, it's really sad for him, because now he has completely isolated himself, and he's put all his eggs in the basket of this monster, and she has no desire to help him. He's just a pawn in her little game. And the time's just clicking by. It just goes and goes, and it'll be 5, 10, 15, it'll be 20 years down the road, 30 years, and like, what, we're not hanging out, like I haven't spoken to him, like what's that going to be? And that's the saddest part, because you're just in this depressed state, no one's there helping you, and I think, yeah, I could, go to him and give him a bunch of good energy and try to like build him up and, be his best friend and like, have him come around the family and try to do that. But really, that's not gonna solve it. Like that could be a quick little fix, but he's got to be the one, to like suck it up and come out of the trance, because he's under a trance too, man. And that's the other thing too, is just because someone's a golden child, it doesn't mean that life is great for them. And I'd love to have him on the channel and share his experiences, because they are vastly different than mine. But he's in a really tough place right now, and but the door's always open with me, and that's what I like to do. Even even the Nars, but I doubt she's not going to come around. And even my enabler dad, if he decides to have a change of heart and realize, like, man, I was wrong, and people make mistakes and it's okay, and I'll leave the door open for those guys. But yeah, it's just the worst part, man, is the loss of time and the memories that could be created, especially when he could get so much inspiration from my wife and the kids, and it could inspire him to like want to have a family of his own, because he doesn't have a girlfriend. He doesn't have any children. He just has these dogs that are kind of left over from his old marriage. And so yeah, he's just, I think what's happening, he's probably drinking a lot, and he's probably in that, he's like living in the past, because alcohol will really just keep you in that state of you're just in the past, always thinking about how good it was, and it really closes you off from imagining and visualizing a future and breaking free from that. So and the latest thing was like, my dad came at me. This was like, I don't know, a few months back, man, and the nurse, I'm always trying to like get ahead of the storm, so she cooked up this whole thing about how I'm so mean to my brother, and I'm not I'm not there for him. And it was weird, because he sends me this text, and he's like, "Go get my car, I'll pay you." And I was like, what is this about, man? And apparently he like had this old busted car that he decided to drive way up into the mountains, like 2.5 hours deep into the mountains, onto our mutual friend's property that is like way the fuck out there, and drive it way down this road, and then pull the motor out of it and then leave it there. And so our friend is selling his property, and the owner of the property is like, "Get this fucking car out of here." So I get this text from my brother, and he's like, "Go get my car, I'll pay you." And not even like, "Oh, hey," and I hadn't heard from him in a while, and that's what I get from him. And I was like, "Dude, fuck off, man. What are you talking about? I'm not gonna, because I have equipment. Yeah, I could go get it, but what kind of thing is that? Go get my car, I'll pay you." I'm like, dude, I don't need money. Like, I do it for free. If you were like, "Hey man, like, you want to, like, I rat hole my car like back in the bush, and like I'm kind of effed. Would it be cool if you and I like rode out there and get it?" I'd be like, "Yeah, of course, that'd be fun." I mean, how awesome would that be? Is to like yard some busted car, out of the bush. So anyway, I just ignored him. But the Nars used that as this like fuel. So she gets my dad all whipped up, and I'm outside working on one of my machines, greasing it up, whatever, getting ready for a job. And he comes out, and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "I gotta talk to you." I was like, "Oh, what's up, man?" Like, and he's like, "Oh," and he's like starting to cry, and he's like, "You're being mean to your brother, and your brother needs love, and he's having a hard time." And I'm just like, oh, I was like, okay, yeah, man. Like, I told him, "Dude, come on by, we can talk." And so I'm not trying to be mean or anything. And he's like, "You don't have any time for him." And I was like, "Well, dude, like, you guys don't get it, man. Like, I'm married, and I have 2 small children, and I own my own business, which I work every day I can possibly work. I'm like, my brother is single, works at a grocery store and just sits at home all day. Like, he has all the time in the world. I can't shell out extra time for him. Like, I'm sorry, but I just don't have the time. I mean, I literally wake up at 3 a.m. to like squeeze in a few hours of reading and like learning and, you know, things to improve my life. Like, I have this small window of time. That's literally all I have. But I can make time for him. But yeah, it was just like this weird thing. And I could tell it was like the Narce's words. She had like primed my dad and got him all whipped up, man. And yeah, I was like, well, tell him to come to talk to me, call me, see me. Oh, he's scared of you. Your brother's scared of you. And he's scared of me. It's like, man, you guys, it's just the same old thing. And at the end of the day, it's like, you guys, why? What's this all for? Why are we wasting our time on this? This is just so petty. It could all just be resolved so easily with just simple mutual respect. That's all it takes. And so it's interesting, you know, to think of the lengths that these narcissistic people go to in the creation of their strange reality and their strange world, and you know how they're tirelessly working day and night to, you know, to spin this narrative to people and to you know, triangulate family members against one another and break those bonds, because your family, I mean, that's all you really have. And you know, for me, being alienated from my family because I chose to stand up for myself and really just express what I had experienced in a calm, sober way. You know, now I'm completely isolated from them, and yeah, that's like really depressing and sad. But at the same time, you know, you got to do what's best for you. And so I hope if you're going through a similar thing, or your friend or whatever, family member, that at the end of the day, yeah, you got to do what's best for you. And especially if you have a wife and children, you know, their well-being is top priority, especially the children. So I do what I can to just protect myself and remain strong and fit and, you know, keep pushing through. But yeah, it's strange. I don't know. This is evolving, so I'm sure something new will come up. But it's always interesting, you know, to share it and then hear what you have to say or what you think, because there's a lot that we can learn from these experiences, and especially as they play out, you know, in real time. So anyway, well, I appreciate your time, and thanks again. Have a good rest of your day.